All right, Pete, we know with Everton, the news of the takeover being finalized as we speak. Dan Ashworth obviously has just left Manchester United. Thoughts on him potentially coming in as a new director at Everton under the Friedkin Group?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting times at Everton. Great news that the takeover is now finally completed with the Friedkin Group replacing Farhad Mashiri, which is positive for Everton. There's been a light at the end of the tunnel after months of uncertainty and speculation of what was going to happen to the club. Obviously, when you get new owners in, we always get talk that they want to bring in their own people. That's probably where these rumours with Dan Ashworth are coming from. Obviously, Dan Ashworth is now back on the market following his shock exit from Manchester United last month after just 5 months in the job. Very highly respected in his field as a sporting director. Did a very impressive job at West Brom, Brighton. Was doing well at Newcastle as well before he obviously made that move to Manchester United, which didn't work out. Obviously, Kevin Thelwell's in at Everton right now. There will be speculation about his future with the takeover by the new owners, and he is out of contract next summer as well. So there could be a possible opening then for Everton to bring in a new sporting director, for the Freakin Group to bring in one of their own men. And I'm sure Dan Ashworth, if they are looking to replace Kevin Thelwell, something like Dan Ashworth, who's got loads of experience in England and highly respected, could be a candidate that they would look at.
Pete, what happened with him was at Manchester United, because that all just came out of the blue, didn't it? I think it surprised us all. Do we know anything what actually went on? I'm
Yeah.
suspecting that he didn't have half an eye on the Everton job when he left Man United, did he?
No, yeah, no, nothing to do with that. I think it was just too many Chiefs, not enough Indians for Manchester United. There's a lot of influential people now in this whole United setup. You've got Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Sir Dave Brailsford, Omar Barada, who came in from Manchester City, Jason Wilcox, and you had Dan Ashworth as well. So there's a lot of people, a lot of opinions. I think Dan Ashworth came in for a bit of flack for maybe not being behind the appointment of Ruben Amorim. He wanted somebody else, and obviously he didn't make the big decision in the summer to get rid of Eric Ten Hag when many people thought that would be inevitable, that they would replace Eric Ten Hag, but that didn't happen either. So been a bit of unrest, but I just think there was too many people in that power structure at Old Trafford, and obviously Dan Ashworth's face didn't fit in the end, and it was a parting of the ways. But yeah, it wasn't a good look for Ineos to lose such a key man that they pursued so hard to get from Newcastle to then give him the sack 5 months later. It was a very strange decision, but yeah, I don't think Dan Ashworth will be out of work too long. As long as he's interested in getting the role, I think there'll be a lot of interest in him.
And Paul, the rumors around Sean Dyche potentially getting sacked have calmed down a little bit, but there's still a pretty heavy influence on the fact that most believe his time at Everton will end when his contract ends this summer. Gareth Southgate is now being linked again with that Everton job. He was linked in this previous summer after leaving the England job. You think that would be a good fit with the Friedkin Group and Everton?
Well, listen, if Dan Ashworth's going, and he's a good fit with Dan Ashworth, isn't he? Because we know the relationship that those two have already got. I don't think it'd come as any surprise if Sean didn't leave his post at the end of his contract. But I'd be surprised if it was before then. I think the takeover is fantastic news for Everton fans. It's been coming for too long now. There's been so much instability off the pitch. And now hopefully, listen, I think there's a lot of unrest about Everton fans, the way that they're watching the team, and they're not enjoying watching the team. We're one of the lowest scorers in the Premier League, but now that 4-0 win against Wolves, the result last week that blew everyone's coupons apart when they'd got a draw at Arsenal. I mean, that was just a proper Sean Dyche performance, though, wasn't it? A hard-working team, not conceding goals, hardly had any of the ball, but they were just resilient and hard to beat. I don't think that the new takeover will be too disappointed if he stays in charge and keeps them in the Premier League this season. A huge thing for Everton is to go into that new stadium next year with next season, so at the start of next season being a Premier League team. And he's going to almost guarantee you that. I know they're still hovering around the lower echelons of the Premier League, but with the results that they've got recently, you're not going to go down with him in charge. Are they going to change it and make wholesale sweeping changes in January? Is that too early? We're yet to wait and see. Gareth Southgate would be a good fit with Dan Ashworth under a whole new regime and a whole new structure. And I don't think Everton fans, listen, you'll have an opinion as to who you want as a manager, but I just think with some kind of stability off the pitch and some light at the end of the tunnel, if you like, with some solid finances coming into the club, whatever structure the new ownership decide, I think the fans will give a chance.
And looking more towards this January window, Pete, Everton certainly are in need of a little bit more attacking talent to finish off the season and hopefully keep them in the Premier League as they enter this new stadium. Could they lure Yuri Alberto away from Brazil after just winning the Golden Boot over the weekend?
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of interest in Yuri Alberto. There has been previous links with the moves to the Premier League. He was very close to coming to Southampton in the summer transfer window, but that move fell down at the 11th hour. He was on a plane ready to come, but then something happened with the negotiations between the two clubs and the agents, and the deal fell down. West Ham have been long-term admirers of Alberto as well, and I imagine they will be back in for him as well, especially following the serious injury to Mikel Antonio. So I think they need striking reinforcement. So I'm sure they'll look at Yuri Alberto as well. But as you said, he's had a great season for Corinthians, finished as top scorer. The player's never hidden his desire to maybe come and try his luck in the Premier League. Everton, they could do with some striking reinforcements, there's no doubt about that. Dominic Calvert-Lewin just hasn't scored enough goals. The main thing for him that he's been fit. There's also the speculation around his future, with the player coming to the end of his contract in the summer. Could he potentially move in January if a big offer came in for him? And then we've got Beto as well, who's failed to hit the heights since his arrival from Udinese. There's been talk that he could return to Italy. So I think if Everton were to lose either one of Calvert-Lewin or Beto in January, then they're more likely to make a move to bring in a striker. I think even with the takeover, I don't expect much transfer movement at Everton in the January window. Maybe a few loan deals, maybe a defender and a winger, but I don't think they'll be looking to bring a striker in unless they lose one.
He's a good player, that Alberto, and I don't think Everton will be the only ones with like you said, he almost came once. West Ham and Newcastle, the links aren't going away. And you're only going to have to pay, what, 10 or 12 million? I know we say that flippantly, you're only going to have to pay 10 or 12 million, but in today's market and the way that the players are priced now, he's contracted till 2027, I think. So the deal won't be a huge deal, and clubs like Everton, there'll be a few of them around the table with that type of price tag around the 12 million mark for a player who's a proven goal scorer.